On July 4th, a tragic shooting in St. Anne, Missouri, left 4 people dead, including 2 children, after a domestic dispute turned violent. Police body camera footage captured the heartbreaking scene as officers arrived to find victims inside the home and a wounded child seeking help. The suspect, after killing his girlfriend and her children, took his own life, leaving the community in shock. This devastating incident highlights the dangers of domestic violence and has sparked urgent discussions on prevention, mental health support, and community safety. Before we dive into the details of this heartbreaking tragedy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Stay updated with the latest news and stories as we bring you exclusive coverage like never before. On July 4th, a tragic event unfolded in St. Anne, Missouri. A family was torn apart in a horrific act of violence that left 4 people dead, including 2 children. Fox 2 was given exclusive access to police body camera footage, which revealed the heartbreaking moments as officers arrived at the scene. The footage captured the shocking reality of the crime and the bravery of the officers who responded. The incident happened around 8:30 p.m. on Jane Avenue in St. Anne. Initially, when the reports of gunfire came in, police officers hoped it was just fireworks due to the holiday celebrations. However, their worst fears became reality when they received a 911 call reporting a shooting. The first responding officer arrived to find a neighbor holding a child who had been shot in the hand. The young child was in shock, and the officer quickly assessed the situation. As officers searched the area, they discovered another victim in the garage. At this point, they were unsure if there was an active shooter still inside the home. There was concern that a suspect could be barricaded inside, making the situation even more dangerous. Officers took cover and called for backup to ensure their safety and to plan their next steps carefully. Captain Ravens and Lieutenant Payton of the St. Anne Police Department shared their first-hand experiences of that tragic night.
Immediately, he said, "Hey, we're going in."
The body camera footage showed Lieutenant Payton advancing cautiously, not knowing if more gunfire would erupt at any moment. As officers moved toward the garage, they discovered a woman who had been shot in the head. The sight was devastating, and the reality of the situation sank in. Police Chief Aaron Jimenez arrived at the scene and immediately took charge. Officers learned that 2 children might still be inside the house. With lives on the line, there was no time to waste. The officers made the decision to go in immediately, knowing the risks involved. Every second counted, and they moved quickly and strategically to prevent further loss of life. As officers entered the house, they prepared for the worst. They found multiple victims inside, confirming their greatest fears. A 5-year-old child had been shot and was in critical condition. Officers rushed to get medical help as quickly as possible, but it was a race against time. In total, 4 people lost their lives that night. The victims included a woman, her boyfriend, and 2 children. The details of what led to this horrific event soon became clear. The shooter was identified as 45-year-old Coleman McIlvaine. The violence began with an argument between McIlvaine and his girlfriend, 40-year-old Sechelle Schomburg. McIlvaine had been drinking and wanted to take the vehicle, but Schomburg refused. The argument quickly escalated, and McIlvaine pulled out a gun from his waistband. Without hesitation, he shot Schomburg in the face in the garage. The violence did not stop there. McIlvaine then targeted a 9-year-old girl, Curie Schomburg, who was standing on the back porch. As she tried to escape, he fired shots at her while she ran toward a neighbor's apartment. She managed to survive, but she would have to live with the trauma of witnessing the horrific events of that night. McIlvaine then went inside the house and continued his deadly rampage. He shot 14-year-old Kyron Stevenson and 5-year-old Bouchard Schomburg before turning the gun on himself. The scene inside the house was devastating for the responding officers. Even for experienced police officers, witnessing such a tragedy was overwhelming. Many officers later admitted that this was one of the worst scenes they had ever encountered. For the officers involved, the mental and emotional toll of that night was heavy. Many of them required mental health support to cope with what they had witnessed. It was a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers that police officers face and the emotional burden they carry after responding to such traumatic incidents. Survivors of the shooting are left to pick up the pieces. Curie Schomburg, the 9-year-old girl who escaped, is now living with her grandmother outside of St. Louis. She lost her mother, her brother, and her sister in one night. The pain of that loss will stay with her for the rest of her life. She will have to find the strength to move forward despite the trauma she has endured. The tragedy in St. Anne serves as a painful reminder of the consequences of domestic violence and gun violence. It highlights the importance of mental health support, conflict resolution, and responsible gun ownership. The entire community mourns the loss of 4 innocent lives, especially the young children who had their futures stolen from them. Police officers who responded to the scene continue to process the emotional weight of that night. Chief Jimenez and his team are committed to supporting their officers and ensuring they receive the mental health resources they need. The community has also come together to offer support to the survivors and the families of the victims. This horrific incident has left a lasting impact on the Saint Anne community. It has sparked conversations about how to prevent such tragedies in the future. Law enforcement officials emphasize the importance of recognizing the warning signs of domestic violence and seeking help before situations escalate to deadly outcomes. As the investigation continues, police and community members are working to ensure that something like this never happens again. Resources for domestic violence victims are being highlighted, and efforts are being made to provide more support for families in crisis. This tragedy has left an indelible mark on the hearts of many, serving as a painful lesson about the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked anger and violence. While the wounds from this night will never fully heal, the Saint Anne community remains resilient. The strength of those left behind, including young Curie Schomburg, serves as a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure even in the face of unimaginable pain. Moving forward, the hope is that through awareness, support, and intervention, future tragedies can be prevented, and families can be spared from such heartbreaking loss. The impact of this tragedy reaches beyond just those directly involved. Many residents of Saint Anne are struggling with the shock and grief that this event has caused. The local government and mental health professionals are stepping in to offer counseling and support services to those affected. Community members are holding vigils and support groups to provide comfort to those who need it. In response to this incident, local law enforcement agencies are reviewing their response protocols for domestic violence cases. Officials hope that by making changes, they can prevent similar tragedies in the future. Some are calling for stricter gun control laws, arguing that easy access to firearms makes violent incidents more likely. Others are emphasizing the need for better mental health resources for individuals struggling with anger and substance abuse. Saint Anne residents are also taking action in their own ways. Neighbors and friends of the victims are rallying around the surviving family members, offering financial and emotional support. Fundraisers have been launched to help cover medical expenses and funeral costs. The outpouring of love and solidarity from the community shows that even in the face of tragedy, people can come together to support one another. While the pain of this loss will never fade completely, the community's response has shown that there is hope. By learning from this event and taking steps to prevent future violence, Saint Anne residents are working to ensure that no other family has to endure such a devastating loss. The memory of the victims will live on, and their story will serve as a reminder of the importance of love, support, and intervention in times of crisis. The tragic incident in Saint Anne has left a lasting impact on the victims' families and the entire community, highlighting the devastating effects of domestic violence. The heartbreaking loss of innocent lives reminds us of the urgent need for stronger support systems, mental health resources, and conflict resolution awareness. Let's come together to support survivors, raise awareness, and take action to prevent such tragedies. If you or someone you know is in danger, don't wait to seek help.